I'm Sarah Russell.
I'm JQ Walker.
I'm Hind, and we are
the Neurodivergent Report, a research-based podcast by and for neurodivergent brains.
In each episode, we'll explore topics relating to neurodiversity and coping strategies by reviewing the literature and discussing current topics.
We will also have interview episodes where we sit down with experts in the field and listeners like you, with the hope that together we can all learn to heal in community.
However you are able to engage, thank you for being here.
Yeah. So I was just bragging about how in 1990 I met the Super Bowl winners, the Giants team. Peter was telling me about how little sleep he got, which was such an ADHD story.
For a good reason, though.
Yeah, well, it sounds so, having listened to the full thing, it sounds like you knew you were going to sacrifice some sleep last night, but you prioritized like that awesome event.
Yeah,
with
and it's funny because I'm
social.
like I said, I normally go to sleep super early, and I get up around 3 a.m. To just sort of set my ADHD brain on course for the day. So this time I went to bed at midnight and get up at 3 a.m. It's a little different, but it was fine. But yeah, I'm a Giants and Mets fan. I learned to appreciate abuse and pain at a very early age.
Masochist. Yeah, well, I knew you were from New York City, and so I thought this is a safe place to wear a Giants t-shirt.
Absolutely. And then I come in with the Boston University shirt. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, well, Did you go to Boston University?
I did. I was an undergrad at BU. Grew up in public New York City. Went to public school. Went to the High School of Performing Arts, the FAME school. I was a vocal major. Sang for like 25 years. Went to Boston University. Tried grad school. Lost my financial aid. I had about 18 credits to go, and the government sent me a letter and said, "Your parents make too much money. We're taking away your financial aid." So, yeah, that was.
The system sucks.
It really does.
And it has for a while.
I mean, it has for years, and we're finally just starting to learn exactly how bad it is in so many ways. My God, I spend a ton of time overseas for work, and occasionally I'll get sick over there, and I'm like, God, I love getting sick in other countries.
What's your favorite place to get sick?
Probably Thailand, because there is a hospital called Bumrungrad, and Bumrungrad is one of the top 10 hospitals in the world.
Oh.
And it's primarily filled with doctors who have trained at American universities and American equipment. And then they go back home to Thailand, and you can get something called an executive physical there. Now, an executive physical is usually for like CEOs and really, really rich people. And if you get the executive physical in America, you spend pretty much the entire day from like 6 a.m. to about 4 p.m. in the hospital. And they poke and they prod and they take blood and they, shove things in orifices and
really
whatever.
Run in the full.
Yeah, they check every single one of your major organs, whatever. And if you go to do it in the U.S., the Mayo Clinic, a few places that offer it's about $85,000, and insurance doesn't cover it. The exact same physical, like down to the actual same tests, same equipment, same machines. And Bumrungrad Hospital is $750. And so even if you fly out there in business class, spend the weekend in a ridiculous hotel. So I go out like every once a year, every like Wednesday in November. I get there Thursday night. Friday morning, I'm spend all day in the hospital, get poked and prodded.
Wow.
Back in the hotel Friday night. Saturday, I spend all day shopping, get all my Christmas shopping done for like 1/10 the price, come home Sunday. Last year, I did it, and they discovered something on my spleen that my physical in the U.S. completely missed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
wow.
I really recommend
it.
And
is that cost because of the exchange rate, or is it just...
No, that cost is because America sucks when it comes to healthcare. Jesus.
Yeah, super true.
And America makes healthcare a for-profit industry. That's just not cool.
It's really complicated, and the older I've gotten, obviously, the more experience I've had with it, and I'm just flabbergasted. I have chronic conditions, so I regularly am getting blood work.
Yep.
And I got to learn about insurance adjustments because I pay more for my blood work than my insurance company pays. Like their responsible portion is just so small because they have a deal with the phlebotomists, and that's wild to me.
One of the
Not
things
to
I've
mention
learned.
those people aren't even in a union.
Oh no.
Um,
So I decided about it. I don't know. 3 months
anyway,
ago.
wow.
Same thing. I decided about 3 months ago. I wanted to get myself in shape, and so I wanted to do blood work, and I get it. I can get blood work paid for by the insurance once a year. So as long as you don't need blood work more than once a year, you're good. But I decided to have it again, and they're like, yeah, you're not going to pay for it, and the doctor's like, yeah, it's going to be about $700 out of pocket. And I called up a lab in the city. I'm like, do you guys have any walk in or self pay appointments? Like, yeah, $110 for the same test. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So just do your homework, man. Figure it out. There are ways to beat the system if you really want to screw them. Just got to work on it.
Oh my gosh. And it does just take some time, usually. Well, today I am talking to Peter Shankman, who is a super impressive businessman from New York City. No, we already started chatting a little bit. So, he grew up in New York, went to college in Boston, living the ADHD life, was diagnosed at 39.
ADHD single
Um,
dad life. Gets even better.
A familiar story. I'm sure we're going to get to that, but I think I remember now that your diagnosis came sort of post-divorce.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it came
As a result of?
before the divorce, but I hadn't really. It came about a year or two before the divorce, but I hadn't really learned the skills or taught myself the skills yet, or what I
To
thought were the
improve
skills to
anything.
improve anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I got divorced, it's like everything just sort of made crystal clear sense. The irony is, I'm still best friends with my ex. All the parents at her school, at my daughter's school, are like, "You guys are really weird because you don't fight. You don't have to have lawyers pick up the kid." And I'm like, "Yeah, And it's just the joke is like, I wish that one of us had cheated on the other because at least then we'd have a story as to why we got divorced. But we
Yeah.
didn't. We just didn't work. But we're really good friends. So now I have a girlfriend and she has a boyfriend, and
So
we're not each
jealous.
other's problem anymore.
Yes. I'm constantly saying I wish my ex nothing but the best because then he will leave me alone.
Yeah. I mean, look, co-parenting, I got to deal with. I talk to her every day, right? But
Yeah.
it's y-
That's so healthy. I
life
wish
is
more men
life is
felt like
very
that,
short.
Peter.
No, man, life's just very short, and
Yeah.
a lot of the things that look like these massive problems when you're married or when you're just when you take a step back and look at it from a bigger lens, it's like it doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. Let it go.
hmm
I'd rather be happy more of the time than be right.
Yeah. It takes so much effort for me to recover from an emotional situation that, yeah, I'm really. It has to take a lot for me to like want to confront somebody or like be right.
Oh, the quote is the wise men fear three things: a stormy sea, a moonless night, and a kind man who has been pushed past his. Because I let a lot of things roll off my shoulders and roll off my back until I don't,
Mhm.
and that's when you kind of want to be afraid.
Yeah. And actually, I had it marked to ask you a little bit about that. I'm just going to jump around a bunch
Yeah,
because
go
that's
crazy.
cool.
Don't like I have ADHD or
Um,
anything.
yeah. I think the last time we chatted for a bit, I really wanted to know about like your grounding rituals and sort
Hmm.
of how you keep yourself sane and able to do all of these million things. And you told me that your rituals are really super important, and the rules that you set for yourself, the boundaries that you set for yourself, help keep you regulated.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but my follow-up question is, what about when you need to be scared? What about when it doesn't work?
Well, I mean, the rituals to keep myself grounded don't necessarily prevent me from being scared. I'll give you an example. I'm a skydiver. I jump out of planes for fun. I have over 500 jumps. Everyone's like, "Oh, you have over 500 jumps. You must not get scared anymore." I'm like, bullshit. Every time I jump out of the plane, I'm scared. You're jumping for 2.5 miles above the ground with a bunch of fabric and strings to save your life. If you're not scared, something's wrong. The day that I'm not scared, that I'm jumping, is the day I don't jump because then something's wrong. Right. So it's not about not being scared. It's about understanding that fear is just one aspect of life and a healthy part of it. And as long as you are not dominated by it, having fear is actually very good, because when I overcome the fear and exit the airplane, I am the most free I will ever be in my life for the next 45 seconds, because I only have two options: open the parachute or don't open the parachute. There's literally no other choice. In what state of your life,
Terrifying.
but in what state of your life are you ever so free where you literally only have two choices? An amazing place to be.
I hate the bread aisle. There are way too many choices. Uh, no, but I gosh, I have another follow-up question, and it might seem really intrusive, but I'm just curious if you've ever been physically assaulted?
I've been beaten up a couple of times. When you're a fat Jewish kid growing up in the New York City public schools, you're gonna get beaten up a few times. So yeah, I've been
Couple
beaten up.
of
Plus, it's New
swirlies.
York City. I mean, I've gotten mugged once or twice. Not
Yeah.
recently, more like in the '80s, but yeah, it shit happens. Um the city's changed a lot. I mean, I grew up here in the
I'm
'70s and
someone
'80s.
who has PTSD as well,
Yeah,
and so listening to you talk about your relationship to fear sounds like my goal.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different fear of getting beaten up or getting attacked, getting assaulted versus jumping into a plane are two completely different things. When I jump into a plane,
Yeah.
I prepped for that. I prepared for that. I have my parachute. I've trained. I know what to, getting randomly assaulted is a different type of fear, but there are ways to train and prep for that as well. I
Yeah.
don't leave the house without a little thing of pepper spray. And growing up in New York City, you learn to keep your head on a swivel anyway. So, you learn, okay,
Yeah.
that block just doesn't look good. I'm going to avoid it. That's why I love the fact that my daughter's growing up here with me, because kids who grew up in New York have such a stronger self-preservation instinct than people who grew up almost anywhere else in the country. Um,
Mm,
but Jess is 12 now, and she takes the subway to school by herself and everything, and she knows it's almost like a sixth sense. You're sitting on the subway, you might be looking at your phone, you might be looking around, but you're constantly scanning. Your head's on a swivel, you're constantly looking. That guy looks, as she puts it at age 12, sus. And she
love
said,
it.
but she automatically knows, I'm gonna get up and go to the other side of the car. I'm gonna go switch to the subway, different subway car. So yeah,
She
I
has
mean,
safety skills.
she does, and that just comes from living here. And
Yeah.
look, I love New York with all my heart. I was born here. I've spent 99% of my life here. They call us boroughbreds. People who actually grew up here are called boroughbreds. And you know, I New York City is my first love, my first girlfriend, my first breakup, my first everything. I would never leave that. But it's New York City, so as much as you love it, you hate the crap out of this place too. Um, and
There's just too much.
it's
There's too many people. There's too many things.
well, I mean,
Of
it's
course, you're
true.
gonna find things to complain about,
I mean, I'm on
and
the 56th
yeah.
floor of my building right now, looking at it over the city, and that's where
Oh
I
my
live, and so it's
goodness.
quiet as hell here, and this is peaceful. You look at this view, and I can see Jersey over there, which isn't that great of a view, but I see Jersey. Um, I see the Hudson. I see Central Park over there, and it's peaceful. You walk
Hmm.
outside, it's not there are too many people. It's that people in groups become idiots. A
Yeah,
person, a person is very cool. When that person joins 100 other people or 100 other persons, they become people. People are
I love that. People are idiots, but there's lots of phenomenons for why that is. Is sort of herd mentality. Everybody thinks like somebody at the front knows what's going on.
no one knows.
Um, No, nobody knows. Amazing. Okay. So awesome. We've already talked a little bit about how you were diagnosed. I usually ask people, how was it missed earlier in life? But I think, no offense, but just because of your age, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the 70s and 80s in New York City, where it wasn't ADHD didn't exist. What existed was sit down, you're disrupting the class.
Yeah,
Right. And I was
wrap you with the
actually
rulers and
yeah. I was in therapy, and I had a wonderful therapist who I still have. One day he just randomly said, Peter, we never discussed your ADHD. I'm like, what ADHD? I don't have ADHD. And he just sort of went like this. He stared at me for about 30 seconds. And I said, what, I have ADHD? He goes, well, read this book. There's a 100-question test in the back. And if you get about 18 questions or more right, pretty good indicator that you have ADHD. I think I got out of the 100, I got like 97. I'm like, well, shit. Okay. That explains a lot. And,
uh-huh.
you know, over time, I started realizing all the things I got in trouble for in school, all the things that I got yelled at for doing, all the things that everyone called me weird for were actually me creating a better life for myself, me creating a better way to
To
live
move through the
that
world.
worked for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, because it was different, growing up, the motto is pretty much, if you're different, that's wrong. And it's changing now, which is good. It's good
You
to
weren't
see.
the cool kind of different.
Exactly. Well, it's good to see that people are, starting to realize that the different is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in elementary school, whatever, in the public schools here in New York, it's different is there's a line from the Broadway show Footloose, which I think ran on Broadway about 8 minutes, and there's a wonderful line when the new kid comes to town. He says, "Because you know how a stranger is. If he's not dumb, he's dangerous. But either way, at least it's something new." Yeah, it was so true. If I wasn't, whether I was stupid or not, I wasn't like the herd. So that got me I got in a lot of trouble for that. Growing up, getting beaten up a lot for that. But no, over time, when I finally realized that could make me better, and that could make me useful, and that could make me shine and stand out. That was a
Yeah.
good lesson learned.
So you were already pretty well into a career life. You were an adult.
Well, yeah, but you got to realize I only
How
had
did
one. I only had one real job. I got very lucky. In my first job after college, I wound up working for America Online, which in the '90s was the internet. And
AOL,
yeah,
if
AOL.
nobody knows. Oh my gosh.
I helped create the
What?
newsroom, and at AOL, like today's news, and that was amazing because everyone at AOL was weird. Everyone at AOL probably had ADHD, and none of us knew what the hell we were doing, but we just did it. And if it
Mhm.
worked, we did it again. If it didn't work, we did something else. And so,
The tech world is peppered,
yeah,
especially the early years. The internet was
oh,
like
yeah.
completely built by ADHDers and autistic people.
So that was an
Can't change my
amazing,
mind.
but that was an amazing 3-year experience there. And then
Yeah.
I left AOL. That was the only time I didn't live in New York. I was living in Virginia, where AOL was based. Then I moved back to Virginia. I moved back to New York. Got a job at a magazine,
Yeah.
a print magazine in New York City. And the first day, I get at 8 a.m. and we have 8 a.m. meetings, and then we move right to a 9 a.m. meeting, and then there's a 10:30 all hands meeting, and there's an 11 o'clock roundup, and there's a 12:30 meeting, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Russia. And
Yeah. What's the point of all these meetings?
but that's how most businesses work. AOL really spoiled me, and
Wow.
that lasted about 3 days, and I quit. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. I'm going to go out on my own because that's the only way I know how to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on
And
my
so how
own.
did you? Yeah.
I had no idea. I just, like most people with ADHD, I started working, doing stuff, figured out how to get clients, figured out how to get them to pay me. And, my whole logic was always like, I'll try going out on my own. If it doesn't work, I'll just get a job. 08, 18, 20, it's coming up on 30 years and it's like 27 years. And I haven't had to get a job. So I'm lucky.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah. On the flip side, I mean, it's scary as shit, man. There have been some great experiences. I sold a couple of companies. I made a bunch of money. But, one of those things about New York, no one tells you, it costs a fucking $1,000 a day to wake up here, man.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up, it costs a ton of money. So, you're constantly hustling. You're constantly, my friends, my ex-wife, whatever, they all work for other companies, and then they want to take a day off, a mental health day. They still get paid. That's mind-blowing to me.
Jealous.
Good and bad.
There are so many neurodivergents who just self-select entrepreneurship. Yeah, I think it is always tough for people to figure out, like, how do I sell things like myself? Like, what do I have to offer? Especially because a lot of us have such poor self-worth because of the misdiagnosis or
Yeah.
undiagnosed. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, look, you started the call by saying, how you were
I
nervous.
didn't transition well.
No, that you were like nervous to meet me or whatever because I'm such this big deal, and I'm like, no, you're weird. That's not true. In my mind, I still have massive imposter syndrome. I don't see myself
Well,
as.
I am weird, but it is true.
No, it's a good. Weird is good. But no, I see myself as. I have massive imposter syndrome. I don't see myself as having done anything special or worth interviewing me about. I mean, I know, like, logically the facts say, yeah, you did this and sold it. But, in my head, it's all like, I just got lucky. And so,
You just kept going.
yeah,
Also.
but that's what ADHD does to you. If you're told you're broken for the first 20 years of your life, you're going to spend the next 20 trying to undo that. And it's a bitch, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh, I barely even made it to 20 without having massive trouble. I went and got myself arrested at 19. And so I pretty
Nice.
much just decided my whole life right then. While most people are deciding on their majors, I'm picking between minimum wage jobs now.
What'd you
No,
arrested
that's
for?
not true. Well, so I was like an accomplice for attempted armed robbery. But mostly I was just doing pills.
Props, man.
Mostly I was just depressed and I didn't have like family.
The amount of people who are neurodiverse and in jail is a ridiculously high number. There was a professor who did a scientist did a research study, and he came up with this concept of what he called type T people. And type T people is basically, this is before we understood that, ADHD is a thing. His concept of type T people was that there were two types of type T people: type T positive, type T negative. Type T positive people didn't get enough dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline in their brain, so they would find positive ways to get it, whether it's public speaking or skydiving or whatever. Type T negatives didn't have that option, and so they would wind up breaking the law, doing drugs. I remember watching on the Science Channel like in 2003 on my TiVo, and I saved it on TiVo, and I'm like, cool, it's gonna be there forever. And of course, then TiVo died, and like I lost it forever. But that concept of type T positive and type T negative was huge to me, because I'm like, I was very lucky. I had parents who cared about me, and I was, if you pardon the expression, too much of a wimp to do, to break the law or do anything like that. But I could have gone down a very different path.
Yeah.
I didn't drink growing up. I didn't drink till my late 20s, and then I'm running my agency, and all these clients are and they're like, hey, we want to take us out. So like age 28 or whatever, I started discovering alcohol. I'm like, holy shit, this, and I learned
I'm super lucky that it makes me physically ill. Like,
Cool.
I have like fainting disorder, like
That's
POTS.
That's a good thing.
So yeah, my body was just like, no.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like, I wasn't.
And I was like, okay, fine, but what can I have?
I quit a while back, and I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking like blacking out or raping and pillaging villages or doing shit like that. I wasn't doing any of that. But I was just realizing that I couldn't have one drink. I could go 6 months without drinking, but if I had one drink, I wasn't having one drink. I remember seeing a sign outside of a bar that said, I rarely drink, but when I drink, I turn into another person. He drinks a lot, and
Yeah.
And it's just like, so yeah, part of my rituals and part of my way of sort of surviving my life and thriving is you avoid the triggers that send you down that path. So I don't drink. Because it's amazing how easy it is to make other stupid ass decisions once you start drinking. Right? Sitting
Especially.
here at 12:30 on a Wednesday, 12:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, and it's a pretty good bet that I'm not going to randomly think, hey, I should go get some cocaine. I'm just not going to do that. Probably going to have a salad. But, have a drink. And that decision-making process changes. So it's just
You
easier.
are from the 80s.
Right? Totally. Well, that's the thing about, you think it's the 80s, but the thing no one understands about New York, there are two things about New York that no one seems to understand. Number one, the price of good cheese is just ridiculously high. Always has been. And number two, everyone does cocaine. Everyone. Like, I've been to parent gatherings at my daughter's school, and you look around, okay, those three people are definitely on cocaine. And it's so I guess some of them have the ability to decide to do cocaine, and then like a few hours later decide not to do cocaine. That must be an amazing superpower.
Yeah.
I relate it to pizza. Never in the history of my life have I ordered a pizza and the next morning had leftover pizza. If I order a pizza, I'm eating the pizza.
Yep.
It's just not a real thing to have leftover pizza. And I've discovered it's like leftover tequila, leftover cocaine. Those are not real things. And so for me, the solution simply lies in the wonderful line from War Games: the only winning move is not to play. And yeah, it'd be really nice if I could go out and get hammered one night when I really deserved it or needed to or whatever. But It's not
Well,
going to be
if you
one
think
night.
about it, it makes a lot of sense. Don't beat yourself up for
No,
it.
I don't. I'm
Alcohol
long
is
past it.
literally poison, and so your nervous system is just totally shutting down. It's like not making any good decisions.
Yeah.
It puts you right into survival mode.
But the other key also
And
is that it's about it's about what's going to happen the next day. It's not about, because like I said, I'm not going to have 15 drinks, black out, and wind up on Avenue A, in my underwear. That's not going to happen. I will go home. I will go to sleep. I'll drink water before I go to bed. That's not the issue. The issue is that I'm not going to wake up at 3 a.m. to get on the bike. So, because I'm going to be hungover. I'm going to be, even not hungover, dehydrated. So I'm not going to wake up.
and
I'm
then
going to
you're
sleep.
starting on a deficit.
Well, now I've slept in. Maybe I get up at 8:30. Maybe I'm not feeling that hot. Well, you know what would help that? I need some dopamine hit, and I'm just really not in the mood to get on the bike right now. So I'm going to order from the deli down the street. I'm going to order like 4 grilled cheese, bacon, tomato sandwiches.
Oh
Okay.
my,
When I ordered those, I'm going to eat them, all of them.
that's great.
And cool, well, that'll pump me up, give me a huge dopamine serotonin hit for like the next 10 minutes. Well, that's worn off. Now I just feel fat and greasy. And since I ruined breakfast already and I ruined the start of my day, I might as well order pizza for dinner. Now it's like 4 days in. So I just don't start it.
When's enough? Yeah, that's tough for us. Balancing. Some would say regulation is the whole disorder.
It's very true. It's definitely a part of it. I don't think it's a whole disorder, but it's very part of it, because when I go skydiving, I'll do like 4 or 5 jumps in a day. And if my regulation was so dysregulated that I had the same reaction to one skydive as I do with eating a pizza or doing, drugs, or whatever, I wouldn't be able to do any more that day, because my body would dump all the serotonin, adrenaline, dopamine out at once. But it doesn't. It knows, okay, we'll give him a high, but it's a natural high. We'll keep some of it in reserve because he's probably going to jump again. And so the brain actually knows how to limit it.
And you've trained for it.
Yeah. So I
That's
can
how
do
you've
4 or
always
5
done
jumps
it.
a day. It's the same thing when I'm done with a keynote. High as a kite when I'm done with a keynote. Like all the dopamine, all the serotonin. But the brain knows, okay, in 2 hours, he'll be at the airport and getting on the plane. Then you can let him crash. So it holds some back to make sure I don't fall asleep in 8:47. But yeah, that's it. The body's amazing if you let it do what it's supposed to.
How did you learn to listen? I know that's a tough question.
No, it's actually a lot of flying on planes. So I fly constantly. Pre-COVID, I was doing about 250,000 miles a year. And the thing about flying on a plane is that you're always seated next to someone. And if you're ADHD, at least for me, I learned that the person sitting next to you isn't really interested in what you have to say. Rather, they're looking for a moment where you stop talking about yourself so they can start talking about themselves. And once I learned that, I realized that if I get on a plane, strike up a conversation with the guy next to me, one next to me, and then just let them talk, 2 things are going to happen. One, I'm going to learn everything about them before we land. I literally, unless they fake their death, I don't know everything about them before we land. And the second thing that's going to happen is that when we land, they're going to give me their car and say, we should really find a way to work together. You're an amazing listener. You're so talented. Dude, I haven't said shit. I've been literally sitting here letting you talk for the past 3 hours, but people don't let other people do that. And so just the fact that I was listening and nodding when appropriate and being interested in their conversation, in their mind, I'm the greatest listener. I'm the greatest conversationalist in the world, because people rarely let other people talk.
Afford each other the opportunity for that kind of connection. Yeah. That's true. My dad was just yelling at me the other day. He was like, "You and your mother never let anybody talk." So yeah, I definitely have gotten better at that though with my children and people who I am looking for like subtle cues from, maybe like I don't trust that they're really fine.
Absolutely.
Nobody's really fine right now, okay?
That's 100% true. We're not designed to take this kind of bullshit all the time, 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so talk to me about like your support tools. Do you have any like tech that you love? Any apps that you love?
Yeah, I mean, I live and die by Siri. Whether I'm asking it to do something, remember something in 5 minutes, whatever. I use a wonderful free service called followupn.com, where if I'm sending an email and I want to make sure that someone replies or I need to reply, I just BCC a certain time and or date at followupn.com, and at that exact time or date, it just sends it back to me. I'm a big fan of AI. There's a lot of AI that works really, really well. There's a lot that sucks ass, but there's a lot that works really, really well. You got to do the homework and figure out what it is, because there's like for instance, there's an app called Captions, and I'm giving a keynote next month, and they wanted me to send them a 60-second preview that they could put on their socials.
Mhm.
And Captions lets me write down what I want to say, and then as I record it on my phone, it plays the captions right next to the lens, so it doesn't look like I'm reading off a cue card or something like that. And then it automatically edits it in a business forum or a fun forum, whatever. You find these tools that really work, but then again, at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to tools that have existed for thousands of years. My shades automatically come up at 4 a.m. My lights at 3:30 a.m., 3:15 a.m. start coming on in a sunrise colors, so that even if I had missed my alarm, which I'm usually up before, but if I miss it at 3:45, my room is filled with a half an hour's worth of beautiful sunlight to wake me up. Alarm clocks are actually terrible for us because, in the grand scheme of things, we're only about a half a second old as a species. For thousands of years, humans, in the millions of years before that, apes and dinosaurs, they woke up by the sun coming up naturally. And then some asshole like 100 years ago said, you know, it'd be better. Ding, ding, ding.
Hate it.
So
That's
automatically
amazing.
rising,
And that's so true.
automatically rising lights that follow the sun, that look like the sunrise, are the best way in the world to wake up. You got to track the data.
Our circadian rhythms are so important.
Yeah,
And
totally.
we all have like variable rhythms. There are definitely lots of apps these days that you can monitor, like when are my optimal hours. Wearing a Fitbit to bed was one of the best things I ever did, because it showed me that I was actually waking up for like an hour every night, just tossing and turning. And also that I had a heart problem and I needed a beta blocker.
There you go.
So yeah, really super helpful for chronically ill people.
So those kind of things, you got to figure out sort of like, again, what works.
You got to
best,
play.
what works best for you, right? Play with it, have fun. I mean, once I discovered that I have sleep apnea.
How did you discover that?
Anyone I slept with would ask me a couple hundred times a night, "Are you dead?" Because I would stop breathing for like a minute and a half at a time. And if you're lying with someone in the dark for the first time you're sleeping with them, and whether you're hooked up or not, and you're
And they start
lying there and you're sleeping and you're woken up with, you're gonna ask some questions. So yeah, once I got the sleep apnea.
So that's what it is? That's all it is?
Sleep apnea is your throat closing for a handful of reasons, but it closes, and the only way to wake up is your body goes in survival mode. It says, "Asshole, you're about to die. Wake the fuck up." But imagine being in deep REM and then going into survival mode 6 times an hour, 8 times an hour, or in my case, 30 times an hour. So I wasn't getting any deep sleep. That CPAP machine changed my life. Now it forces air down my throat, and I sleep really well. The rituals that I have, I sleep most of the time. I sleep in a pair of bike shorts and socks, so that when I do wake up, there's no question. I have no excuse, or very limited excuse, as to whether or not I should get on the bike.
The
or go to the
friction
gym
is
or do whatever.
smoothed.
Yeah, because I might get on the bike and just slip my feet into the bike shoes and on the pedals and be pedaling for 5 minutes before I even open my eyes, but I'm doing it, right? It's why I can never work out in the evenings, because if I go through a full day, I will 100% come up with a reason not to work out in the evening. Oh, wow, look at that news article. There's a new satellite orbiting Pluto. You know what? Just to be safe, I should skip my workout. Yeah. So get
That's
it up,
Mercury
get up
retrograde.
early, get it done, and you're done. And the difference between the days I exercise in the morning and get that dopamine and the days I don't. I mean, my daughter was like 3 or 4. having breakfast. And I skipped working out. I was tired. We're sitting there having breakfast. She's like, "Daddy, did you get on your bicycle today?" I said, "No, honey, I was tired. I slept in." "You're not as happy." Kid was 4.
That's hard. When they
But
see
it's
you
true.
like that.
Yeah, shot right through me. So, you learn to do these things. You eat
Wow.
healthy. You
Yeah. I've definitely gotten some healthier habits sort of as I've aged. My kids helped force me into a better sleeping schedule. There were definitely some nights where I went to bed at 12 and woke up at 3, but for the most part, um,
know what the
I'm
crazy
a
thing is?
normal, boring person.
The crazy thing is that when I decided to go all early riser and shit, like stop being a night owl, my biggest fear was like I was gonna miss out on all like I wouldn't go to the networking parties, the cocktail parties, and I wouldn't meet people and I wouldn't get gigs. Well, it
Mhm.
turns out the people at these parties, the only thing they can really do is maybe they have a connection 4 spaces down that they can introduce you to someone who maybe could help you. But
Mhm.
you get to the gym at 5 a.m. and you're waiting for them to open the door and you're sitting next to 4 other CEOs. So you learn where the best place for you to be is.
Mhm.
Pretty crazy.
The people who you are going to need to talk to as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of people are like trying to figure out, how do I meet, boyfriend, girlfriend these days, like besides going out to the bars. It's really tough because there's not a lot of like third spaces, not a lot of things to do. But if you just work on yourself and do the things that you enjoy doing, there are going to be other people there.
I'll be honest with you. I'm dating someone, uh, been dating for several years. If I wasn't and I had to go out and like find someone new, I don't think I would. I can't imagine having to go on a dating site or any of that shit right now. I'm just like,
I never would.
oh god. And last time I did it was like 2000, right after my divorce, like 2016 or something. No, no.
No. I It's probably really strange, but I've actually never installed one or made an account anywhere.
I've used them
Um,
in the past, but I just think that times have changed so much that I just don't. I have a great T-shirt that says, "After this virus is over, I'm still gonna need most of you to stay away from me."
I was
And
just sharing that with my mom's group this morning.
yeah, I kind of feel like it's like I I have the person, I have my person, I have my kid, I have my parents still alive. I have a couple of friends. I'm good, man. I don't need more than that. And I wouldn't. Yeah,
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, we're gonna end there.
sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always ask people, what do you want to plug? We talked about source of sources,
Yeah,
and I don't know. I don't remember if I shared this with you or not, but I've been using SOS
love it.
to like find guests for this podcast. And so thank you, because
Welcome.
without it, I wouldn't have been able to put out, gosh, like almost 40 episodes in 6 months, let
Love it.
alone I have so many more like recorded already. So amazing.
I love it.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
Source
much.
Sources, it's free and it's available to everyone to get some press,
Yeah.
sign up.
You don't have to be a journalist,
Nope,
really. I mean,
nothing.
you just got to be someone who wants to talk to another kind of people for a press reason, for a story or a um, podcast.
Yeah, anything you want. And it's also on the flip side, you can be a source uh and get quoted in the press.
That's true. Yeah, they're great emails. You don't get spammed. Uh, yeah, that would be great. And how else can people find you on the internet?
I'm at Peter Shankman on all the socials except Twitter because I
It's fuck
don't
Twitter.
I don't like hanging out with Nazis. Um what else? I'm shankman.com is my website. And I answer all my own email, peter@shankman.com. So I encourage you to reach out.
That's so real.
Gotta be. I'm not allowed to schedule anything myself. My assistant took
Well,
right
you'll
access.
probably do it wrong.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. My assistant took right access away to my calendar over 10 years ago, so I don't have it. But I can ask her if I want to do something. But
That's so
apparently I
cool.
scheduled 2 dinners on the same night on separate continents, so I'm not allowed to do that anymore. But yeah, I do answer my emails.
Cool. Well, Peter, thank you so much for meeting with me.
Yeah,
I
pleasure,
am going
sir.
to ask you one more random question from this little delve deck. It's from this company called Boardwalk. They're like artists from
Love
LA.
it.
So I've got 3 different colors. The darker orange ones are more like personal. Nothing like X-rated though.
Aw.
Yeah. That would have to be a different podcast, I think.
So yeah,
I-
I love it.
All right. That was really cliche. I'm going to pick a different one. Ooh, much better. What's something you like that might surprise the people who know you?
Question. I'm pretty much an open book, so I people who know me do tend to know everything about me and what I like. But
Yeah.
there is that's a really good question because the few people in my life know everything about me. I have I have a secret love for certain types of country music, which I rarely tell anyone about. But if you go through my training or running or marathon playlist or whatever, you might find a good maybe 10-12% of it is country music.
I understand why you might want to hide that.
I'd lose my
I
New York
think
City
it
card,
doesn't.
but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't fit with the New York City vibe at all. Also, these days, I mean, it's gotten even kind of embarrassing to even admit you like the American flag or like this country, period. So, totally get it. I actually also thought of an answer. Well, I thought of 2 answers. First, I immediately thought of cigarettes.
Oh yeah, I used to smoke
Um,
too. Yeah.
I quit. Just because of how it made me feel. But I loved them, like, in the short term. But, for real, the positive answer, the T+ answer is, tarot and astrology.
Nice.
I wouldn't say I, like, live and die by the cards, but I think they're a really great explanation of the human experiences.
I love it. I think that everyone, you have to have whatever it is that you enjoy, and it becomes your
Mm.
thing, right? And do it unapologetically.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Fuck the
Cool.
algorithm.
Exactly.
Who cares what other people are searching for? I just want to do what I want to do.
Amen. Amen.
We'll be free of it someday, I'm sure.
One day.
Or maybe the neurodivergents are going to fix it for us from the
possible.
inside.
Very, very possible.
If you're listening, please help us.
That's true.
No, I'm going to edit that out. I don't need to sound super desperate. But like, I do just want society to get better, like that's not so much to ask.
I hear
It's
you.
okay.
And I think over time, one day it will. I think it's gonna be a while, but we'll get there someday.
Yeah.
You
Well,
ever get in the
as you
city?
said earlier, yeah,
Let me know next time you're in the
not
city.
in a
Grab a
while.
topic.
Yeah. All right. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure was mine. Stay in touch. Let me know when it goes live. I'll share.
Thanks for being here. If you want to connect with the Neurodivergent Report, you can find us at ND Report Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Substack, etc.
If you're looking to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Please do that.
And hey, if you want to check out more about us, visit our website at ndreportpod.com. And you can also go there if you want to be a guest contributor on the show.
Until next time, be well, do good.
Bye.